Hey guys, Jeremy here with KISS Aquatic Systems. KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. It's late summer here, and I thought I'd do an update on the new wildlife pond. This pond has been in existence for all of 10 months now. So I built it this past October in the fall when it was already quite cold. And now it's late August, so we're almost done with our first growing season. So I thought I'd take a quick video of this pond and show all you guys how it's filled up and settled in its first year. So I'd say this is probably the peak plant growth and plant biomass for the year for this pond. Typically mid-August, late August, it's when the leaves on the trees here, they start to sort of yellow a little bit, and within a month or two they're going to really start changing colors and falling. Also, similarly, the plants on the ground that have really grown up here and filled out this pond, they also are going to start yellowing and fading away before the winter, before long. So I thought this is a good time to do an update when we're at sort of peak plant growth here for the season, and see how this wildlife pond did in its first year. So as you can see all around the pond, a lot of lush, for lack of a better word, weeds have taken over on the edges and sides of the pond, which is normal and natural, and definitely provides a lot of comfort for the frog population that has taken up this pond as its home. So we actually have, at the moment, I can see 6 northern green frogs here throughout the pond. See if I can get a closer look at them shortly without them jumping into the water. But yeah, they have like this. They have really taken to this pond in a very short period of time. When I set this pond up, I created a lot of crevices and caves in the rockwork and ledges that are just slightly in the water, because I know that's a frog right now. So I'm being croaked at the moment. But yeah, they really appreciate the rocks that are just slightly in the water. There's a couple of them that I see now that are sitting on those rocks. And also the plants around the edges of the pond, both outside and inside the pond, give them a lot of cover and security. And a lot of insects also live there, which they eat. So really successful from the perspective of bringing frogs into this pond here. So again, we'll take a look at these plants. I seeded this pond with a lot of plants in the spring, and some of them did well, some of them did not do well. Actually, it's interesting, the plants that have sort of taken over here, some of these bigger plants that are growing out of the water, I did not put them there, or at least I did not put them there on purpose. They, see these two, this little bushy thing on the left center really, and this taller weed growing out of the water also now in the center. Yeah, they just sort of appeared. I guess the seeds or parts of the rhizome or root was in the plant that I had put there, which was some sort of native marsh grass, and they did really well. Also, it's funny, I seeded some water pennywort actually in the fall, right when I built this pond, in pots. You can't see it anymore because it's all dead. But I had a bunch of water pennywort. Not a bunch, but some of it pop up. You can see here from some of the plants that I put in and start growing on the sides. So interesting how, you know, the plants that I intended to put in here didn't always thrive, and some other ones came out and did thrive, which is nice. I mean, this is a wildlife pond. The idea is to have it as natural as possible and create an environment here that sort of mimics the natural environment. Also, you can see here, I did put a lot of Aquatic Forget-Me-Nots in this pond in the spring. It looked great for the first month or two. They flowered really nicely. But then a couple of storms pushed them a little further in the water than I think they liked. So some of them you can see here are still alive. But it has died back a little bit. There's a frog sitting right in the Aquatic Forget-Me-Nots. See if I get a good shot of him. He jumps in. Yeah, right there. Right in the middle. Right there, sitting in the... Oh, and there's another one. There's another frog sitting on this other pondweed. I don't know what it is. Here, so 2 frogs right here. Let's see how close I can get before they run away from me. Right here. 1 frog dead in center. Oh, it looks like that's a Dragonfly Nymph exoskeleton. Look, you see here, zoom in on it a little bit, that was a Dragonfly Nymph. And when they're ready to emerge, they climb up out of the water, in this case on this plant here, and then they leave their exoskeleton behind and become dragonflies. So we just created a dragonfly here, probably very recently. That's nice. There's a frog right here next to it. Probably a little bit bummed that I missed out on a nice juicy meal. Maybe it got it, I don't know. And there's another frog. Yeah, see the little eyeball? Now it's right in the middle of the screen. So 2 frogs here. Alright, I'm going to leave these guys alone. We have plenty more frogs in this pond. So let's go around the pond. I'll zoom out now. Get a better view. Yeah, see the rock work? A lot of the rocks are touching the water or just above or below the water line. Frogs have loved those, as I suspected they would. Yeah, some of these, you can see these water irises. These are yellow flag iris that I planted here. They did okay. They grew, but they didn't really thrive, which is normal for their first year. One of them I put in bare root. I just nestled it in the rocks. The other 2 are in pots. Really no difference between the 2 methods in terms of growth. They all did just kind of okay, not great. So, let's see, there's another frog here, I think. Let's see if we get a good look at it. Nope, it left. Yeah, here's another frog right here. Try to not spook it as we get a bit closer, sitting on that rock. Yeah, right here. Yeah, this is a very popular spot for the frogs. I think it's towards the back of the pond. So it's definitely further away from me for the most part, which they like. These frogs, they sort of tolerate me, but they don't particularly like me. There we go. Are you the guy who was croaking at me just now? Yeah, the males get really brave and start croaking at me when I get too close to their territory. And that is exactly what it's about. It's about territory for the males. But once I get a bit closer, they usually quiet down and pretend that I'm not there or they don't see me. So, courageous from afar. Call it that. Zoom out a little bit. Yeah, again, most of these plants, the ones you see here are all growing out of the water. So they start off underwater. And these all took off from some native marsh grasses that I put here in the spring. The marsh grasses kind of died back a little bit, but this stuff really thrived, so kind of cool. Yeah, here's 2 frogs on this rock. Try to zoom in without getting it too blurry. Yeah, one on the bottom right, half in the water, one on the top. You know, we've got this really big female who's actually kind of friendly. I don't think I see her today. All the frogs we've seen so far, the 5 that we've seen, are more mid-sized frogs. So we have one that's a bit friendlier. As you can see, a bunch of mid-sized frogs. We actually got 3 or 4 really tiny ones, probably the size of my thumbnail. I don't think they were born here. I started seeing them a bit too early in the season for that. But it's nice to see that they've taken up this pond as home. There was one more frog that I saw just now. Okay, it looks like it's gone. So anyway, yeah, folks, that's the update. Just wanted to show you guys how this pond has settled in towards the end of its first summer here. So I think this is probably as nice as it's going to look this year. And hopefully it'll continue to fill out and get bushier next year. But lots of plants in and around the water. The water itself is crystal clear down past 3 feet. It's a deep pond. Really not surprising. Normally it can take quite a while for a pond system to mature. But there is flow in this system, and it is connected to my 5,000 gallon koi pond. You can sort of see there right next door. So I sort of cheated a little bit. So this pond matured faster, or has matured faster, because it is plugged into while it is a new pond, it is plugged into a very mature established system. So that speeded up the microbial colonization and all kinds of other things. So this pond is looking nice, very early in its life, and hopefully it'll get better and fill out over time. One thing I expect, actually over the fall and winter, is some of the moss that's growing on the edges and the sides to really start to fill out and make this pond look a lot more naturalized. So the moss actually really starts growing even after the other annuals, like this crabgrass here, have died back for the season. Moss likes actually the cooler weather, and I'm actually expecting to see a lot more moss here. I'm going to net this pond up for the fall, probably within about a month and a half, 2 months. And when I take the net off, I expect to see a lot more moss. So anyway, that's the update. Just wanted to show you guys how this pond has been maturing. And I'm happy with it. I mean, this is a wildlife pond, so it's not really supposed to be flashy or have all kinds of crazy bells and whistles. It's calm water and native plants. And in this case, clear water, which is nice. And lots of frogs. Frogs are probably the most ubiquitous animal that I've seen here. You also have a lot of birds that visit, a few dragonflies. Not as many as I'd hoped, actually. We got some last remnants of some annual flowers here amongst the crabgrass. But we'll see over time. I probably expect to see more frogs next year than this year, and there's already probably, we just saw 5. I know there's a bunch more here. Probably have about 10 frogs here at any given time. I don't know how many we'll have going forward, probably a little bit more next year, and more plant growth next year. But yeah, I just wanted to show you guys this pond and how it's matured. So, hope you enjoyed the video. I'll be sure to do more updates as this pond continues to develop. Until then, stay tuned, take care, and happy ponding.